You sneak up on me quite often, I've noticed. I'm just outside enjoying the outdoors, listening to the sounds of spring, the birds chirping, the water splashing, the kids playing outside. Lots of things I love about summer. Now, one thing I like to do as well when I'm out there listening to the sounds is write down what I'm hearing and what it sounds like. Whether it's like a superhero thing, like a bang, thrash, whatever, anything that happens there. You can write those sounds down and make some pretty good poetry and some good descriptive stories. But you're really here for day 3 of Roald Dahl's The Twits. Now, as we've been reading, have you noticed some features about some people that you might know in your own life? I hope not. Maybe pranks, that's okay. But there are some really good lessons in here. Now, they did say about Miss Twit and about everybody. No matter what you look like, your good deeds and your good thoughts will shine through. So, let's find out what happens today. Last time we left, if you remember, Miss Twit was tied to those balloons and she was up there and she told Mr. Twit that he better check those ropes, right? To make sure she was tied down good. What do you think he's going to do? Oh, you want me to read that to you? Okay, let's get started. Miss Twit goes ballooning up. There's enough up pull on here to take me to the moon, Miss Twit cried out. To take you to the moon? Exclaimed Mr. Twit. What a ghastly thought. We wouldn't want anything like that to happen to... Oh, dear me, no. We most certainly wouldn't, cried Miss Twit. Put some more string around my ankles quickly. I want to feel absolutely safe. Very well, my angel, said Mr. Twit. And with a ghoulish grin on his lips, he knelt down at her feet. He took a knife from his pocket, and with one quick slash, he cut through the strings holding Miss Twit's ankles to the iron ring. She went up like a rocket. Help! She screamed. Save me! But there was no saving her now. In a few seconds, she was as high up in the blue sky and climbing fast. Mr. Twit stood below, looking up. What a pretty sight, he said to himself. How lovely. All those balloons look in the sky. What a marvelous bit of luck for me. At last, the old hag is lost and gone forever. It's hard to do voices. Miss Twit comes ballooning down. Miss Twit may have been ugly, and she may have been beastly, but she was not stupid. High up in the sky, she had a bright idea. If I can get rid of some of these balloons, she said to herself, I'll stop going up and start coming down. She began biting through the strings that held the balloons to her wrists and arms and neck and hair. Each time she bit through the string and let out a balloon float away. The upward pull got less, and her rate of climb slowed down. When she had bitten through 20 strings, she stopped going up altogether. She stayed still in the air. She bit through one more string. Very, very slowly she began to float downwards. It was a calm day. There was no wind at all. And because of this, Miss Twit had gone absolutely straight up. She now began to come down absolutely straight down. As she floated gently down, Miss Twit's petticoat billowed out like a parachute, showing her long knickers. It was a grand sight on a glorious day, and thousands of birds came flying in from miles around to stare at this extraordinarily old woman in the sky. Mr. Twit gets a shock. Mr. Twit, who thought had seen his ugly wife for the last time, was sitting in the garden celebrating with a mug of beer. Silently, Miss Twit came floating down. When she was about the height of the house above Mr. Twit, she suddenly called out at the top of her voice, Here I come, you grisly old grunion! You rotten old turnip! You filthy old frumpet! Mr. Twit jumped as though he'd been stung by a giant wasp. He dropped his beer. He looked up. He gasped. He gaped. He gasped. He gurgled. A few choking sounds came out of his mouth. He said, oh! I'll get you for this, shouted Miss Twit. She was floating down right on top of him. She was purple with rage and slashing the air with her long walking stick, which she had somehow managed to hang on to the whole time.
"I'll swish you to a swazzle," she shouted. "I'll swash you to a swizzle. I'll nash you to a nozzle. I'll nosh you to a nozzle."
And before Mr. Twit had time to run away, this bundle of balloons and petticoats in fairy fury landed right on top of him, lashing out with the stick and cracking him all over his body. The house, the tree, and the monkey cage. But that's enough of that. We can't go on forever watching these two disgusting people doing disgusting things to each other. We must get ahead with the story. Here is a picture of Mr. and Mrs. Twit's house and garden. Some house. It looks like a prison, and not a window anywhere.
"Who wants windows?"
Mr. Twit had said when they were building it.
"Who wants every Tom, Dick, and Harry peeping in to see what we're doing?"
It didn't occur to Mr. Twit that windows were meant mainly for looking out, not looking into. And what do you think of that ghastly garden? Miss Twit was the gardener. She was very good at throwing thistles and stinging nettles.
"I always grow plenty of spiky thistles and plenty of stinging nettles," she used to say. "They keep those out nasty, nosy little children."
Near the house you can see Mr. Twit's work shed. To one side there is the big dead tree. It never had any leaves on it because it's dead. And not far from that tree you can see the monkey cage. There are 4 monkeys in it. They belong to Mr. Twit. You'll hear about them later. Hug tight, sticky glue. Once a week on Wednesdays, the Twits had bird pie for supper. Mr. Twit caught the birds, and Miss Twit cooked them. Mr. Twit was good at catching birds. On the day before Bird Pie Day, he would put up the ladder up against the big dead tree and climb into the branches with a bucket of glue and a paintbrush. The glue he used was something called Hug Tight, and it was stickier than any other glue in the world. He would paint it along the tops of the branches and then go away. As the sun went down, birds would fly in from all around to roost for the night in the big dead tree. They didn't know, poor things, that the branches were all smeared with horrible Hug Tight. The moment they landed on the branch, their feet were stuck. And that was that. The next morning, which was Bird Pie Day, Mr. Twit would climb up the ladder again and grab all the wretched birds that were stuck to the tree. It didn't matter what kind they were. Song thrushes, blackbirds, sparrows, crows, little jenny wrens, robins, anything. They all went into the pot for Wednesday's bird pie supper. Kind of a sad ending there, wasn't it? All right. Now, you're going to go through, answer those questions. Submit the file when you're done. Make sure you click submit. Answer all the questions. Use complete sentences. Restate the question. Do all the things that you've been working to do, that you've been working on. Do your best. Make sure you click submit. Have a great rest of your day. Now, looks like me and my buddy Salem. Hey, we're going to go. She's looking for birds too. Can you tell? That's Mrs. Darling's favorite cat. Have a great day, guys. You gonna go get some birds?